Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Cline. I am a student at the University of Pikeville, and it is spring 2016. This is my second project for Education 205 Technology and Education with Dr. David Barnett. Today, I want to talk to you guys about copyright law, the fair use statute, and some components of an acceptable use policy, as well as a general overview of what all of these ideas are. I'd like to start with copyright law. Uh, Copyright law was created to protect authors and artists and producers of, uh, you know, things that contribute to our culture or just art in general. Examples of copyrightable works include literature, music, graphics, original images, things of that nature, scriptures, sculptures, movies, anything audio, visual, commercials, even uh, continuations of protected works like sequels, or an original compilation of facts, like if you have your own field guide to performing some skill that that you're knowledgeable about and you have something original to offer the world. That is something that you could definitely have copyrighted. By definition, a work can be copyrighted if it is an original work which is fixed in a tangible medium, meaning, did this work come from you originally? Is this your original intellectual property? And also, is it fixed in a tangible medium? Is it accessible by the consumer or the viewer in something that is real on a platform that people can engage with or touch physically? I'd also like to say that copyright law came about from the Copyright Act of 1976, where the United States Congress specifically states the purpose of the Copyright Clause to be to promote the progress of science and useful arts. Now that we've talked about copyright law a little bit, I'd like to introduce you all to fair use. The fair use statute is a legal document that allows for the limited use of copyrighted material without actually having to receive permission from the right holders. Now, what this means is really for the person that wants to use somebody else's copyrighted works, that it may be possible to do so. However, you have to make sure that it was within certain boundaries. In this case, fair use is based on a set of criteria. Usually these criteria include, is it used for educational purposes? Is it transformative in that, is it used in a different way than it was originally? Like, some people will use an entire song or an entire movie, but they will provide original commentary or criticisms, or they will transform the work into a parody, or maybe they will even provide an educational lesson based on the use of that copyrighted work. You just have to be cognizant of where this reproduction will fall in the parameters of fair use, and ask yourself, is my reproduction gonna be educational? Will it be a parody? Will it seem original? I hope the examples that I've provided have been of some help. Next and lastly, I'd like to talk about the acceptable use policy. An acceptable use policy is a stated code of conduct or a set of rules which is set forth by the administrator of a network, school, or a type of business. This person may be the librarian, it might be the principal of the school, it could be whoever works in the technology and resource department. The purpose of an acceptable use policy is to moderate internet use. This limits liability, ensuring that students are safe and on task and not visiting any websites which could be potentially harmful or provide maybe misinformation or harmful information. The components of an acceptable use policy generally include, but are not limited to, the preamble or the purpose section, which explains why the policy is needed, why it was formed, and its goals. There is a definition section which will define keywords or technical and ambiguous language used in the policy. There will be a policy statement section that will explain definitively the circumstances under which students and employees should be using computer services. There will most likely be an acceptable and unacceptable uses section that give clear specific examples of what constitute acceptable and unacceptable student and employee use. At the end of an acceptable use policy, there is usually a violations or sanctions section that tells how to report violations of the policy or explains the penalties associated with the misuse of computer services. Well, if I still have your attention, I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you were able to learn something from my presentation about acceptable use policy, fair use, and copyright laws. These are important things to know about if you have any plans on teaching or if you just want to produce some of your own creative or scientific works. Not only that, it's also good to be knowledgeable and aware of the laws of the country that you live in. So, thank you again for listening, and I hope you have a great one.